What is up, everybody? My name is Whooped. I have a cool video for you today. It's a best of 3 series between Roxas and Doxun. We're in the final 4 of our Mechabellum Mini Masters tournament hosted by our boy Clint. The loser of the game will be eliminated, and the winner will move on to play the loser between Artorias and Alpha Titan. All 4 remaining players right now are just absolutely insane. Throughout the next few sets, myself, Amarok, and Clint have been challenged to say these 10 words during our commentary of the games. The goal is to make them sound natural. Let's get into it. Alright. We got Doxun on the bottom, he is Marksman Specialist. We have our boy Roxas on the top, he is Fire Badger Specialist. Roxas coming out in the aggro setup, he has the Hounds in front, Mustangs in back. Very, very solid composition. Doxun, with the standard board. A lot of ways to play standard, but this is about as standard gets. Doxun is the epitome of a standard player, extremely solid. Now, I actually think the game could be in Roxas's favor because I feel like aggro into typical standard kind of sways the aggro way. And we've seen last week that Artorias actually took it to Doxun a little bit. Although Artorias is a phenomenal player, Artorias was just able to out-tempo Doxun a little bit, and we can see some of that with Roxas potentially. But Doxun knows what type of player Roxas is. He knows he's had this matchup for a week, and so I'm sure he's cooked up something to prepare for it. And you just have to throw in the fact that Doxun is a phenomenal player. He's not just a good player, he is a top player. Normally, Roxas and I have a lot of scrims together. We've played well over a couple hundred times. We actually didn't play a single 1v1 this week, which is funny because I'm also a standard player, at least I used to be, mostly standard. So I'm not really sure what Roxas has cooked up. I know he did scrim against multiple people. He scrimmed against Artorias, he went 3-3 against Dzemp yesterday, which, I mean, if you know anything about Mechabellum, then I'm sure you've heard of Dzemp. Excuse me, Zamp. I just say Dzemp because it helps you remember the name, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Zamp. So don't kill me for that one. All right, so we see Doxun committing to these arc lights. He has them really spread out. The way he has it positioned is, this arc light is definitely going to take care of the flank. Roxas is using the flank to draw in his crawlers over here. And you can see Doxun actually put his crawlers a little bit to the left of the tower so that not as many get pulled. So as you see, like only half are going to get pulled this way and half should go that way, or about. Oh, actually most get pulled. Interesting. So I think what typically happens is the person puts their flank a little bit more in the corner, but Roxas might have realized his positioning and actually positioned it a little bit higher so that he could get most of them. So you can see the micro adjustments coming out from these players. It's pretty crazy. Doxun landing a beautiful Rhino drop in the back. That's going to be really bad for Roxas. That is a lot of... So the thing about aggro into standard is you need the tempo, right? You're going to need the early rounds. You're going to need to get the HP off the board. Man, Roxas with the Phoenix though, that is a massive break. Will he have enough time to get all these kills? I think he actually might do it. It's going to be very close. Yep, 8 seconds to spare. That is an enormous break for Roxas because that would have been a lot of HP taken off of Roxas's board, when really Roxas needs to be the one taking HP off Doxun, because the goal of Doxun right now is to stabilize, and the goal of Roxas is to win before Doxun can stabilize, right? So we see the drops. 4 Marksman is incredible value. Right now, Roxas is thinking about taking the Fortress. That's what he's debating. Doxun coming out with the oil. I think the oil is a fantastic play. Okay, so Roxas Fire Badger Specialist. He uses Fire Badgers in the corner. Whoa, was going with the Marksman. Assault mode Marksman. Okay, so Roxas took the 4 Marksman. Roxas is going for a massive push over here with Assault mode Marksman. That is fantastic play. We got 18 people watching, which is just awesome. Doxun putting down a Sentry Missile. He's like, hey, something might be coming over here. He knows Roxas is like an aggressive player. Pretty sure he doesn't anticipate 3 Assault mode Marksmen coming from this corner. Where did he put the other one? Oh, okay. Protect his flank. Gotcha. Alright, so Roxas is just boxing him in. He has all 4 quarters hit right now. So, the oil was amazing, but what it doesn't do, it can't be in all 4 places at once. So I think Roxas is trying to split Doxun in many different directions because he's trying to find a weakness, and then he'll capitalize on that weakness. And so I think he saw an opportunity with the marksman. So he's debating between the marksman and the fortress. I know Roxas likes to use fortress a lot, but he might be like, hey, it's game 1. Let me go ahead and save the fortress for maybe next game or a potential elimination game, not bust it out so early, because it's kind of his bread and butter play. So he goes with the assault mode instead. Fantastic move. It should get him the round. They'll take the tower, then they'll take this marksman, and it will be a wrap after that. The Phoenix actually isn't even going to go down, so yeah, it's a very, very good win by Roxas. And this is what he needs. He needs to chunk down Doxun's HP, because as soon as Doxun stabilizes, it's a wrap, you know? Like, the aggro player typically doesn't have the scaling composition, they have the tempo. Not to say they can't scale, which is why Roxas likes to pivot to something like Fortress, so he has that opportunity. Alright, so we see Doxun going into Arc Lights. I'm guessing he's going to go range into EMP so that he can turn off these assault mode marksmen if they become trouble. You have to wonder, what is Doxun's answer for DPS? Right now, Doxun really doesn't have that DPS pillar. He has, you know, his chaff clear and probably his secondary pillar of his composition in the Arc Lights. He has the marksman. Oh, he dropped the rhino. Okay, so he's going to take on the flank with the rhino. Still, that's a situational counter. The marksmen are more supportive. The Arc Lights are a secondary pillar. What is Doxun's primary pillar going to be? You know, we have yet to see it. You know, rhinos are just so fast with their 16 meters. As soon as he takes care of this flank, he's just going to hop on his little skateboard and go all the way to these Mustangs over here. Just kind of slide on over. Interesting fire. Man, the Arc Lights are doing so much work against the Mustangs. So Roxas coming out with some Wasp, which I think is fantastic against what Doxun has. Kind of just adds another element that Doxun has to answer. So, is he going to go into Mustangs? Well, Mustangs wouldn't be very good. Also, they're not going to be his primary pillar, right? He still is missing his primary pillar. He doesn't need more supportive units. He needs an answer, like a DPS answer, a carry. Oh, this is going to be good. Will they go into supply enhancement? I doubt it. Oh, never mind. I don't doubt it. Both of them go super supply. Okay. Greedy players. So Doxun's at 2400 HP, but he, you know, weighed the risk. He's like, hey, I want super enhancement supply. He skipped on, you know, giant manufacturing, which is telling. I'm still wondering, you know, what is Doxun's primary pillar DPS carry going to be? And it may just be Arc Lights. He may just tech them fully, you know, go carry Arc Light, and that's absolutely a possibility. He's going to answer the Wasp with Fangs. Whereas Roxas, he's kind of just like trying to create this avalanche of a composition and just, you know, take on Doxun as fast as he can. Unfortunately, it's not working as well as I think he would hope. Ooh, interesting missile. Roxas coming out with an awesome shield, but it, you know, definitely won't stop the rhino. Yeah, so I feel like Doxun's defense is kind of like a parachute, right? It's just slowing Roxas's army down enough that he can just get everything here, get back into the fight. You know, Doxun won the right pretty heavily. Roxas won the left. It's anybody's game right now. I think Doxun has the comp that can scale the best, most likely, with the Arc Lights, because he can still get Elite Marksman, which is a pretty good scaling tech. He can get EMP to turn off the Assault Mode Marksman. Okay, so Roxas coming out with Fortress. He's like, hey, this isn't going super well. I'm going to go to what I know best, which is the Fortress. I think he could have actually made a play with Wraith, because Doxun doesn't really have any anti-air right now. Like, he does have a few marksmen, right? But if he came on this side with the Wraith, I think it'd be really difficult for him to answer. unless he thought Doxun might throw down like a melter. But Doxun actually goes for the War Factory. Okay, so this is the pillar that I was talking about. This is the plan for Doxun. Putting it on the left side because he's like, hey, I'm losing the left side. Whereas Roxas is like, hey, I'm going to attack Doxun's right side. Putting down the forts. It's his bread and butter play. He puts these two down. Beacons them in. This is the Dolmont beacon, where you beacon right before the chaff and then beacon again. And the units will actually move in a lot quicker. Ooh, okay. Doxun taking care of these fire badgers so he can get to the fight quicker. Curious to see what this War Factory do. He opts for armor enhancement. He does not get... He does not even have efficient maintenance, actually. Yeah, these fortresses are going to do a lot of work. Roxas gets the tower. There's nothing over here that will be able to take on the War Factory or anything else that Doxun has. So once again, it's going to come down to one side versus the other, except it's reversed. You know, before it was right versus left, now it's left versus right. Now, unfortunately for Roxas, actually, I was going to say, unfortunately for Roxas, the army didn't split, but it looks like they will, so it's just the fortress taking this on right now. But he gets the tower, so I guess it worked out for Doxun. You know, brilliant round for Doxun. Curious to see how Roxas responds. You know, he just kind of committed to the War Factory. Excuse me, he just kind of committed to the fortress. Ooh, efficient giant. Oh, skips. Okay. Doxun is like combining oil and smoke bomb to create like a marshmallow field of sorts to just slow Roxas's approach from this side. And Roxas is kind of putting all his eggs on this side too. He has his wasps over here. He has his birds over here. They do have charge shot. So I think it's not really for taking on the initial engagement, but it's for the secondary engagement when he eventually has to take on the War Factory. Doxun does not upgrade his War Factory. He's finally sick of this. He's like, I'm getting rid of the shield. He puts down some steel balls. I don't blame him there. He doesn't level up his towers either, which is very interesting. Well, he leveled up this tower, but he doesn't level up this tower. But I'm guessing he's like, hey, I'm just, you know, killing this army anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Probably, you know, he probably considers it to be more efficient not to spend any resources on this tower. Which I understand. These units are going to probably be taken off the board anyway, right? Whether he puts a upgrade or two into it or not. For not a lot of value. So I think it's a smart decision by Doxun. Very economically focused right now. And War Factory is just too much to handle. You know, the burst didn't last long enough. And that's that. Roxas really feeling the pressure right now. You know, and another thing about what Doxun has, the shields on the fangs are just a lot to handle. You know, Roxas doesn't have great chaff clear. Assault mode marksman can chaff clear a little bit, but they're not a chaff clearing unit. Like, they're not something that I would go into for chaff clear purposes. They're kind of more of like a supporting chaff clear. They're not something you'd want to take out, you know, shielded fangs very effectively, especially when there's, you know, a War Factory right in front of them and fortress with We are back with game number 2 with Roxas vs Doxun in a best of 3. If Roxas loses this game, he's out of the tournament completely. If Doxun loses, they will play a third game. Now, both of these gentlemen are in the losers bracket, so whoever loses the series will be eliminated from the tournament, unfortunately. The winner will move on to play in the next round against the loser between Arctorius and Alpha Titan. The last 4 remaining players are just absolutely ridiculous. They are so good. We got Doxun as Farseer Specialist, starting with Sabertooth and Fangs. He decides to drop Marksman. And then we got Roxas as Quick Supply with Tarantula and Fangs, and he sells one of Tarantula and he drops Wraith instead. Roxas must have ate some jalapenos because he's going for a spicy play right now. Unfortunately, Doxun does have the Marksman, which will answer this pretty nicely, but Roxas does have some chaff over here, so if the Marksman gets a solid lock, then, you know, it's unfortunate for Roxas, but if the Marksman goes ahead and takes some Fangs, then it will be a round for Roxas, because Doxun does not have any chaff clear. Oh man, that was a play by Roxas. Typically when you see Quick Supply like that, you'd see like 4 spiders. Roxas is like, nah, I'm changing that. He's like, look, He has Sabretooth. I'm not going, I'm not going to go for that. I'm actually surprised Doxun took the Marksman, given that he does have Sabretooth, but I think the reason he did that is because he's eventually going to sell out of the Sabretooth, whereas he's going to want to keep the Marksman. So he's like, hey, it's going to help me now, and I'll add Arc Lights next round. I'm guessing that's what he's going to do. So that looks like Roxas will clean up this round. Even if the Wraith goes down, he has the round. Hero Fangs, just not going to be strong enough to take on the Tarantula. Doxun is down to 43-46. Roxas committing to a Wraith despite Doxun already having Marksman. Decides to add another Steel Ball. He moves the Wraith over a little bit. He's like, okay, I'm gonna potentially get out of the way of these Marksman lock-ons. Very smart play by Roxas. So Doxun has a level 2 Marksman on the right side, but the level 1 against 2 Wraiths. Unfortunately for Doxun, his single Marksman is about as deadly as a pool noodle arm. It's just not going to do anywhere near enough damage, and it doesn't even get the lock on, so. Nothing Doxun can do about these 2 Wraiths on this side. He's going to have to find a more permanent solution. And he also needs Chaff Clear. So he has 2 big problems right now. How does he deal with Wraith? How does he clear Chaff? You know, if he elite recruits some Marksman, that's still not going to stop the Chaff clearing problem. So I think he can't really do anything until he clears Chaff, so that probably should be his first solution. So we'll see. If he does clear the Chaff, look how, fast he actually can take out a Wraith. I think he really has to focus on getting some Chaff clearing options going. Both of the players offer additional deployment. We didn't even see the other options. They chose it so fast. Doxun continuing to build out his Chaff board. I have to say, I'm honestly thinking this game is trending in Roxas' direction because Doxun just does not have an answer for what Roxas is throwing at him. All right, there goes the first Saber. We did expect that. A Farseer! All right, so I completely forgot that Doxun was Farseer Specialist, and that absolutely serves to shut down the Wraith. Now, that makes it even more surprising that Roxas decided to go into Wraith, knowing that Doxun will get a Farseer, but Roxas might have thought that, it's not going to come until round 4, whereas Doxun actually got it 1 round early by buying it. Oh, Roxas going for the cheeky flank. Unfortunately, it's going to be right into a Farseer. He has to know that there's going to be some sort of, anti-Wraith unit over here, whether it's like another Marksman or something. So, very interesting call, I think, to go Wraith on this side, because you're kind of leaving it exposed to whatever anti-Wraith unit is over here. Now, it could be just to stall even longer, just so his Steel Balls get to the tower. I'm not really sure what the play was. Is it going to work? It doesn't look like it will. Oh, wait, maybe. No, it did not. The Arclight was able to finish off the Steel Ball. Oh, the Crawlers are going to get the tower on this side. That is actually really, really, really good for Roxas. The timing is absolutely perfect because the Farseer will not be able to take out the Wraith in time, or will it? It will. Right as the tower went down. Doxun holding on. What a fantastic defensive swing from round 2 to 3. I mean, 3 Phoenix is just so much. Roxas actually opting for the Typhoon. Okay. Interesting. I'm not surprised Doxun took the 3 Phoenix. It plays into a standard composition well. It goes against, Wraith well. Roxas actually committing to the Wraith. I would think, given that Farseer, is going to appear on round 4, meaning he'll have 2 Farseer plus, you can just know that Doxun is going to take the 3 Phoenix. Just absolutely fits his composition. He's that type of player. So 3 Phoenix plus the 2 Farseer. I mean, that is a lot. It's a lot to go against if you're Wraith. I would think that Roxas would sell out of it, and maybe that's a potential blunder. Doxun going for the flank. He's like, hey, this tower's actually really open. Let me go for the flank. And yeah, I think that's a really good play. The Roxas switching sides. You never know what side Roxas is going to come from He really likes to have the flank pull you, so he can hit you from the corner. You just really never know what side he's going to come from. Sometimes he'll even come from the middle. He's just all over the place. You can't really predict what he's going to do, and it's so hard to stop it. One of the ways is to take, an opportunistic tower, and that's exactly what Doxun's going to do. I think if you're Roxas, you have to have a Fang or something over here to stop it, just like you did on this side. Very minimum, you have, a Sentry Missile. Roxas's tower is going to go down. It's not going to be good. I don't think this attack is actually going to work anyway. Just because, Roxas went into his Wraith, and Doxun has, the 2 Farseer plus the 6 Phoenix. Interestingly, Roxas actually got Phoenix himself, so he unlocked the Typhoon because he's like, hey, I want the Typhoon. I actually like Phoenix, but I'm going to add, Typhoon to my composition, and then I'll just unlock the Phoenix myself. Which, I can respect that. That's a solid play. Both skip. I wasn't even able to see what was offered. Apparently nothing good if both skipped. Doxun upgrading his Farseers. I have a classification system and I call it Farseers. They fall under, they can be a mercenary unit of sorts, and they can also be a bridge unit. And I think they are fantastic. As long as they're not your carry, they are so good at stabilizing boards. They offer flank protection. They offer Tiki play like Wraith protection. They're just such a good unit to have on each side of your tower. Very, very good at defense. So as long as you're not trying to scale up with them, absolutely fantastic to add to your composition, because you don't have to tech into them, right? And if you wanted to tech into them with EMP, it only costs you 100 supplies. You can add an item to it. You can sell it any time. You'll get the item back. You get full supplies if you leveled it. It's like a really fantastic unit to have when you're playing defense, and it helps you stabilize that much faster. So if I had to guess, I would say Roxas' plan right now is he has the race so that he can take care of the shielded fangs that are potentially going to pop up. And then that also might be why he took the Typhoons. They're just going to add more, chaff clear. Let his steel balls focus on something like taking the tower. Let his Phoenix come in and take the tower. So I can see why Roxas kept the Wraith. I just think it's a bit of a risky play. But he obviously knew what was going to come, so he calculated, and he's like, hey, it's worth it. I have a plan. And I believe Roxas very well could have a plan. It's a fantastic player. One of the best at taking towers. That being said, Doxun is a very, very good player too, so, at this point, it's still anybody's game. It does look like Doxun kind of is stabilizing, though. It does look like Roxas is going to be able to take the round. Very interesting. Okay. Don't pull out your trombone yet and start singing, because this game is not over. Roxas really wants to take the fortress, but he's like, how does this fit in my comp? Takes the Raiden. So I have a rule. It's not an actual rule, but I like to say if you see Raiden, take Raiden. It is that good of a unit. If you have the chaff clear, Raiden is so powerful. Doxun also taking Raiden. And 4 hounds is a lot. 4 hounds is a lot, but Raiden is... Oh, Roxas sold the Raiden. Actually, both players sold the Raiden. Okay, well, Doxun drops another War Factory. This is going to go brilliantly into Roxas's comp. He just doesn't have a whole heck of a lot that could deal with this right now. Especially when Farseer and Phoenix are going to be behind shooting. The War Factory is going to take down the Typhoon Shield no problem. Oh, this is so unfortunate for Roxas. The only hope he has is if his steel balls lock on. I'm just not sure this is going to be enough. Now, all of Roxas's army essentially is on this side, so that is good for him. One of the level 2 Farseers, the Rhino and stuff, they're on the other side, so that, and the Phoenix. Oh no, Doxun sensing something was up. Actually mobile beacons his Farseer to the left. Holy guacamole, I cannot believe he mobile beaconed that. That is a fantastic play. That is such a heads up play by such a fantastic player. Looks like this game is going to be, for Doxun, this round at least, is it going to be lethal is the question. Will Doxun have enough to win? Oh, he does! That is lethal. That means Roxas is eliminated officially from the tournament. That is very unfortunate for Roxas. Very sad to see him go. But fantastic job by Doxun. You know, he's a deserving player. Awesome guy. Very, very, very nice. He had a War Factory play that Roxas just didn't have a good answer for. And that's how it goes sometimes. Doxun moves on to take on the loser of Artorias and Alpha Titan. And I will be recording that one as well. I will see you in the next game.
This is Mechabellum, and it's going down. Whooped, got it popping. Round after